It was on the minimap. I will try to
Oh yeah, I see him.
distract him. And you will take care
Go,
of him.
go, go, go.
Nice one.
Hello everybody. It's time for some Magrider gameplay. For this video I teamed up with Steel Shana and Blizzard, as well as Dosenöffner and Sarks, all members of my NC outfit WASP. I will start off with a brief introduction of the Magrider and then talk about how this MBT compares against the NC's Vanguard and the TR's Prowler. If you want to skip the introduction and the Magrider discussion, feel free to check the corresponding timestamps in the description in order to jump right into the action parts. The Magrider is the Wano Sovereignty's main battle tank. It is not the fastest nor the most damaging MBT, but what it lacks in these departments it makes up for by its superior maneuverability. Or doesn't it? In this video I summarize my thoughts about this tank. It is the first step in getting a better understanding for it, be it because you are eager to try it yourself, or because you want to know the weaknesses of a foe on the battlefield in order to step up your tanking game from NC's or TR's perspective. In fact, I just started using this tank and I had a hard time getting used to it. I was genuinely surprised that some of my long-used tactics and approaches didn't seem to work, at least not always with the same effect. To put this in perspective, I'm a pretty experienced tanker with 3,500 kills in my Vanguard, 4,700 in my Prowler, whereas I only have roughly 20 hours and 350 kills in the Magrider. So what were the exact problems that bothered me when trying out the VS MBT? I can't rely on the DPS, for example Anchored Mode. I can't rely on tankiness, for example Vanguard Shield. So what is left? Maneuverability. The Magrider is the only tank that can strafe and it has access to the Mag Burner, a faction specific ability that enables it to release a short burst and increase its speed and hover height. So, can I rely on its maneuverability to consistently win tank versus tank engagements? No, at least not how I was playing, and I had to learn that the hard way. Generally speaking, my way of tanking focuses on close to medium range brawling, while using all opportunities that present themselves to my advantage. This ranges from tank specific features like mobility, tankiness and firepower, to faction specific traits, to more broader spectrum encompassing situational awareness, teamwork with my gunner and other vehicles and infantry. A big part of tanking is also the terrain, meaning cover such as rocks, buildings, other vehicles or just different height levels. All these can also be used as dead ground for stealthy approaches. Dead ground is defined as an area of ground hidden from an observer due to undulations in the land. Now that we covered some general aspects which are important for a tanker, I will discuss some of these in more detail. I found myself in situations where I engaged on my terms, but still lost or had to retreat because the enemy out DPS'd me or just was too tanky. As Sun Tzu said, if you know your enemies and yourself, you will not be imperiled in 100 battles. As it stands, I did know my enemy, but I only started to getting to know my Magrider. But what was my reasoning for engaging on these short distances? Because long and very long range engagements and most of the time without a winner. Either side has plenty of time to retreat, and due to the distance you can't follow quickly, meaning that by the time you arrive, the enemy is already fully repaired and knows you are coming, thus putting you at a disadvantage. After a while I managed to handle the massive bullet drop better, and thus the engagement distance I felt comfortable about actually hitting the enemy kept increasing by a steady rate. And here we come to my next struggle. Aiming with a Magrider is a pain, at least if you are used to the other two MBTs. This is because of mouse acceleration. Mouse acceleration is a feature which increases the speed multiplier of your mouse the faster you move it. While this has definitely some advantages, mainly precision while slowly moving the mouse, and a fast turn rate when moving it quickly, it throws off my aim by such a degree that I still kept missing shots I would have landed with any other tank. I know why SOE has this in place, but I really don't like that you are not able to disable this. But how would you be able to turn your tank quickly without mouse acceleration, you ask? By simply binding rotate left and right to some keys. Even with mouse acceleration in place, I would still recommend it to any Magrider driver, because it helps you turning at the max rate without too much trouble. As it stands, mouse acceleration is used for the Magrider because this MBT handles like a tank destroyer, meaning your main gun has no horizontal traverse at all. If you want to align your barrel towards the target, you have to turn your whole tank. Back in World War II, most tank destroyers had at least some traverse for their main gun, and this was usually a long-barreled, high-velocity gun that was capable of outranging enemy tanks. However, the AP gun's muzzle velocity is kicking in at 225 meters per second compared to 250 and 275 meters per second for the Prowler and Vanguard AP, giving this tank quite a disadvantage. Nevertheless, you can use the slow bullet and ballistic trajectory to hit targets behind cover, which is quite unique. Back to the tank destroyer comparison. These vehicles compensated their weak side and rear armor with thick frontal armor. However, this is not the case for the Magrider. Its armor feels more like you are sitting in a Lightning. Another thing that I noticed quite early was that I really missed my turret. Not only because of shooting, as stated earlier, but also because I had a pretty bad situational awareness. To look behind, you have to either turn your whole tank, which is very noticeable. Everyone can see that, meaning potential enemies can engage or hide, thus adjusting to your movement. Or you have to switch to the gunner seat or hop out. Using third-person view can surely be helpful, but this is also not on par with the other MBTs. To make up for it, you can try to focus more on in-game sounds, but this only helps to a certain degree. In order to properly compensate for that, you need a very good gunner. One that actually is good at driving himself and knows how to handle the vehicle and what it is capable of, especially its off-road performance. He also needs to have a deeper understanding of how to approach the enemy and use the terrain in order to guide you properly. As mentioned before, his situational awareness has to be quite high. Compared to other tanks, he has to do double the work, because he's the only one being able to constantly check your sights and your rear. And finally, the gunner needs to be good at gunning. Who would have thought of that? Seriously. With his skills, he can offset the Magrider's weak main gun, at least to a degree. Keep in mind that in its current form, the Saron has an insane amount of burst damage, but its attack angles are quite bad, though the latter may change soon. The driver has to compensate for that and has to make sure his gunner is actually able to hit the target. This becomes particularly relevant on slopes, ridge lines, and nearly every little hill. Of course, these characteristics are important for any type of gunner. But the difference is, you can make the other two MBTs work with a very inexperienced gunner as long as you as a driver are top-notch. This, however, is not the case with the Magrider. Once you go up against an experienced enemy tanker team, you will be outplayed by them the majority of the time. So, now that we talked about maneuverability and armor, aiming and damage, terrain and situational awareness, and tank destroyer-like traits, how can I make this tank work? Shortly summarized, positioning is key. There are basically two engagement options. Option 1 is to battle it out on mid to long range. The less cover for the enemy, the better, while you are not really dependent on cover yourself on these distances because you can strafe and dodge shots. The second option is to sneak up to the enemy and use the insane burst potential. This kind of tactic requires stealth. Actually, the Magrider is my first tank where I felt the need for running stealth. Without it, the element of surprise is lost and close range engagements turn into a disaster. Once you are in close proximity, you can also use the Magburn to quickly position yourself behind the enemy tank for maximum damage. However, you have only one shot at this, because the burner needs 20 seconds to fully recharge on its highest level. My current Magrider setup consists of AP, that is a Supernova FPC, secondary gun is a Staron HRB, Racer chassis, stealth and Magburn. So, what is my current view on the Magrider? For me, it is definitely the most fun to drive tank. Its ability to climb hills, jump and float over other vehicles is quite entertaining. But mastering these skills and using them in battle is crucial for success. At the moment, I'm at a level where I have to work twice as hard to achieve the same results that I would have achieved with the other two MBTs. But at the same time, it feels more rewarding. Generally speaking, I would say that this tank has the highest skill cap of all three MBTs. If you haven't tried one yourself, give it a go and check it out. Especially with full upgraded Magburner and Racer chassis, the maneuverability begins to outclass every ground vehicle besides the Harasser. Let's have a quick look at the map. The NC forces try to push Jaeger's crossing. Our objective is to deny them a foothold by destroying the Thunderers and vehicles. Dosenöffner and I are using the information provided by Sarks in his ESF to find and engage targets at different ranges, depending on their ability to endanger us. One of the biggest challenges is to prevent a situation where NC's Air Force attacks us while we are already engaged with their ground forces. Our stealth loadout certainly helps with this, but on the wide ice area it is quite tricky to find cover.
No angle.
Nice. Did you see a Skyguard from Russell called DREID? Kill him, please.
Where is he?
Around the bridge. Actually, it's on the south side of the bridge, I think. Not too far from you.
That line.
Oh yeah.
Nice one.
Oh shit, that was a driving mistake. No!
Nice.
I like your name, Dosenöffner. By the way.
Thanks.
Have a visual on a hostile Reaver.
A lot of Reavers around.
Yeah, I can't really get near you guys.
What? I killed the infantry guy, wow. On a flash.
Try to spot targets from here. The problem is their supply line comes from this base in front to Stone Beach. So if we close in on that, yeah, that guy needs ammo.
There's Skyguards. There's two Skyguards on the ice.
We're currently engaging one guy at Two Stone Beach directly at Ammo Tower. No, I missed!
Dare you!
No! Did you see that, man? How can I miss?
I
That
have
was...
3 Reavers on me. Ah, fuck.
Reaver in the area.
Keep an eye on the base.
Visual on an NC Vanguard. Hostile lightning tank spotted.
So
Sunny,
let's.
hold.
Visual on hostile
Enemy
Thunderer.
lightning.
Okay, Sunny, go.
ID on an enemy Thunderer. Thunderer destroyed.
No.
Ah, that was nearly a kill, man. Lightning tank.
Yeah.
I got. Oh. He wants to fight us.
Cute little guy. Vanguard spawn. Get back to base.
We
The fuck?
have to repair now before he comes.
Stock lightning. Yeah, Vanguard. Okay,
We
get
have
back
to
base.
repair. There's no other way.
Get in, get in.
Fucking C4. There's one guy with C4. Fucking debris, man.
You rammed us, what the fuck?
Let's head back because I'm very low on ammo right now. Down to 10. They were locking onto us, so I keep moving a little bit.
Spotted an enemy spawn point. Enemy ATV nearby.
Hostile lightning tank spotted.
Do you have an implant?
Eyes on an enemy lightning. Enemy medic in the
I
area.
think they are out repairing us.
Eyes on an enemy lightning.
I can't be sure because it's still burning.
ID an enemy lightning. Enemy Thunderer
Stay alert. Enemy heavy nearby.
spotted a hostile
Watch for
infiltrator.
6. Infiltrator in the area. NC Reaver ID.
Bit disappointing that we don't have anti-air on this base.
I'm an engineer. I'll repair you.
Stay tuned for more MBT and Magrider gameplay. Highly experienced VS players like Justicia from DIGT and Sector 101 from P36M are pairing up with me to dominate the battlefield and give some useful tips and insight in the process.
You can throw some mines here on the road. This
They took out-
fucker is he's blowing up our mines. Oh! Might as well come across.
There's also a heavy tank on the east. With this gun I always need like a first shot to see how the angle is. And I don't need that with the other guns. With the see? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. Leave your questions and constructive feedback below and consider subscription. That way you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. Feel free to discover more Planetside 2 content on my channel. Sabotsas out. Careful down.